So we need to take a step back and really appreciate the insanity of this week's episode of Tensura, because Albus almost dies. And it's not an exaggeration. That girl would have got cut clean in two had my boy Benimaru not stepped in. Benimaru somehow gets roped into a political marriage for a mountain, which, hey, I mean, I'm sure people have been sold off for worse, but still, at the end of the day, I mean, it's pretty much like, hey, we want to drill through your mountain, so here's my daughter to drill through. We casually learned that Hakuro be nailing some beauties in his younger days, and still, you put these two side by side, that I would not expect them to even be relatively close to the same age, but props to him. As we casually have the declaration of daughter's gonna compete to be chosen as his wife because Benimaru's a one-woman man, as Albus is like, listen, I'm gonna defeat that skank, and if not, I'll be your concubine. And somehow, just because it's Rimuru, Shuna and Shion decided to also join into the fight so that Rimuru would pick them. Whether it's last episode, with him casually solving issues without realizing it, to this episode, to casually creating cultural behaviors of how you pick your wives, leave it to Tempest to never have a damn dull moment. I, of course, have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full and good thought to any of these Tensura episodes. It's going to be over there exclusively. What a beautiful episode. Like, it was just chock full of insanity, fun, little bit of drama, but like every minute of it, you just had a smile on your face, or at least I knew I did. So they more or less, they send Benimaru and the crew at some point to go scout because they want to make, a tunnel through the mountain. For obvious reasons, they're probably thinking, oh, demons, demon lords, we know what they like to do. Probably have also already had run-ins with Frey and stuff, so makes sense why they'd be a little on edge. And when you bring in a beastkin with you with negotiations, it does kind of seem like a flex of intimidation. What was surprising, though, was that Benimaru just kind of sat by for the most part. He was pretty chill, all things considered. But when the girls started getting feisty, when he actually stopped it saying, no, you would have... It's not even just a simple, you would have been defeated. You would have been cut clean in two, which is insane to say, and honestly quite humiliating for her, because she obviously thought she was a lot stronger than that. But it's so brilliant because when Mom comes in, immediately tensions just get dropped, and just the casual reveal that like, oh hey, yeah, I fell in love with this guy back in the day. He didn't have a name at that point because obviously giving a name, especially in your older age, if you did it wrong, it would be very dangerous. Turns out to be our homie Hakuro, who just props to my boy. Have never been prouder of him in this series at this point. And it's just hilarious because like, this isn't the first time, and it's not going to be the last time you see anime have like the surprise, hey, I'm your dad or I'm your mom, and but it's just like the way they just casually are like, you know what? This is perfect. We're not even going to be like, where have you been all my life? No, it's just simply like, yeah, I have a dad now. And he just immediately flips into dad role. He's like, what's this? Young master, you don't want to marry my daughter? And I'm like, bro, this man is about to get sold off for a freaking mountain. You got to give him a little space. He doesn't even know what he wants in life. My boy's mad confused. And it just spirals into this big harem talk. You have the lizard boy, who basically his harem is just his homies hyping him up in the background, and even he's like, why are all my hype bees guys? This is so strange. It's just so goofy, and it plays into the silliness, and this really is what the first core was missing, man. Just like allowing the political negotiations of what's going on, because this is still all politics based. We're literally trying to allow us to, like, their mountain is considered like a sacred object seemingly, so the idea of like drilling through it, even if they thought maybe it wasn't practical, like we know obviously we can do it, the fact remains, not only would this give them an opportunity for an easy attack, because they'll obviously have a bridge between Tempest and here, and if they wanted to invade it should be pretty easy, we also have to consider the fact that that mountain is sacred to them. So the idea of like a political marriage for that type of access makes total sense, and often would happen with rulers and stuff, whether even back in our own day or most stories in what you'll see. And the idea that you then add in the Albis stuff and the competition, it's so silly, and it spirals so quickly. It goes from, I don't even know this dude's strength, to, you know what, I'ma fight and win. And yet it doesn't feel fast-paced. Like, Slime is a lot of different types of anime all in one, but whether it is the silliest thing or the most intense thing, like sometimes you can get like in season 2, At the core end of the day, it's about Tempest being built up as a nation. And the idea of roads and tunnels and, you know, connections. I mean, obviously with Milim and where, you know, after we defeat Clayman, how territories have kind of like merged together and stuff. We are doing relatively good. Tempest is sitting pretty high and mighty, especially with Yom now on the throne. Everything's kind of turning up Tempest. It won't forever, but, you know, for right now, things are looking good. And to just have that pay, like, Rimuru's in a goddamn cloak and crown. Like, he's playing king right now. And it's, like, any other character, if they were wearing that outfit, would seem like the most egotistical dumbass. Yet, Rimuru's just an adorable cinnamon roll, and we just love him for it. But the fact that you can actually admit that this episode can be summed down to as Albis almost gets cut in two. Benimaru now has a harem in the making, as collectively the cast is discussing harems. As, you know, basically Hawkrow discovers his long-lost daughter and now is in Papa mode of like, hey, is my daughter not good enough? This man's known his daughter for like 2 seconds and is already saying, what's wrong with her? You don't want to marry her? What's wrong, young master? Am I a disgrace? Are you a disgrace? What's going on? It's like... And the fact that somehow, without even realizing it, my boy somehow made Shion and Shuna decide to compete even harder for Rimuru, because it's like... How? How did he manage this? And why was this episode so fun? Man, like, this core in general is so fun. The Coliseum stuff, the political side, the meetings, it's just so much more exciting. And I really appreciate, like, the thing that I appreciate, I think, the most about this episode is the variety of locations. We don't really get a whole lot of variety because we're usually in Tempest, but whether it was when we went into that village, beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, like, that looked more beautiful than Tempest. Like, any part of Tempest, if we're being 100%. Just, like, a decent amount of variety, and it feels like there's just this aura of fun. It still has its serious political stuff, but it's like, it just knows how to be less stiff, less boring, and we're not just constantly sitting around the same table discussing the same things over and over for weeks on end. We still discuss things, but it's almost like you take a lot of the fun factor of season 1 and just how, like, we're in the early stages of characters talking, but now we're at the season 3 point of political influence, and it just makes it for such a recipe of fun that I'm dying to see more of. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode, because I don't even think I could pick a favorite moment. It just got funnier the longer it went on, but the casual bombshell that Rimuru's like, goddamn, I think I should run. It's like the Ralph meme from The Simpsons of chuckling, I think I'm in danger. Like, that was pretty much a Rimuru at the end. So maybe that's my favorite point. I don't know, but thoughts down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around, of course ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Trap Senpai, Andre, Darthwin Wright, Eric Barton, the James CR7, Exor's Ghoul, and we also have Jeff. So I appreciate the support, everyone, and please take care, and you all have a good one.